so much for this teaching.
非常感谢。
Right, we'll just take questions, right?
Yeah. 现在可以他们提问了。
You want to choose them yourself, or?
您是想自己挑让他们问呢，还是让教授 ？Yeah.
Is there a meaning or a place for genetics or the karma of the parents in a birth of a person?
实际上，按照我们这个宗教的观点来讲的话呢，实际上它有一个叫做阿赖耶，阿赖耶上面就是有这个前世的这种习气。那这个习气呢，就像我以前就是喜欢这个跳舞的话呢，就是从生下来的时候都是有喜欢跳舞的，就是这么一个种子就开始这个成熟，就是这是他自己的这种一个关系。然后父母的话呢，就是他叫做是外缘，就是父母呢也有对他的有关系的。就是如果父母他的这个入生呢，就是对他也是有，比如说我们对种子就是外面浇汤啊，就是浇水的话呢，对这个食物产生的时候呢，也有味道不同一样的。父母呢也有关系，但是最主要是他自己的根本。比如说他自己爱跳舞的话呢，父母一点不会跳舞呢，他也许可能会从小都会爱跳舞的。所以他跟自己的心是最主要的。当然父母呢，就是成为一个他的身体的这种生物是外在的关系，外在的一种作用。
From religious point of view, in Buddhism we talk about alaya. Alaya is where the seeds of habitual pattern of the seeds from our previous life will be stored. So from the alaya, our previous habits will be carried on into our present life and maybe future lives. For example, if a person liked dancing in his or her previous life, that seed may be brought into the present life, and the person may really enjoy dancing since a very young age. That is the type of karma that is very closely related to personal mind stream. But there's also what we call that's external conditions. That's what parents would bring into this person's life. The parents brings external conditions such as your physical appearance, such as all the physical traits of your present physical body. But that is just like a external condition, just like how we would season our food, maybe with sugar or with salt. They may taste different, but the food is the same. Maybe the parents don't like dancing, but the child with such seeds would prefer dancing since a very young age.
I would love to hear how you understand free will, and if there is free will. If everything has a seed, and everything is the outcome of something you did before, do you have an option to choose what you want to do now?
它是这样的，这个当然每个宗教呢，就是它最究竟的有些观点就是也有一致的，然后暂时每个宗教也有不同的。但一般佛教的观点来讲，它的这种业力呢，实际上是本来是一个延续的线，但是依靠一些特殊的这种因缘下呢，它也有可以转变的。就是因此佛教并不是完全是宿命论，就是它到一定的时候呢，就是依靠这个特殊的这种因缘的时候呢，它可以这个转变的。就是所以它跟整个宿命论就是有所不同的。
I think all religions have ultimate outcome or ultimate goals, but also have some of relative differences in terms of teachings. However, in terms of Buddhism, in terms of Buddhism point of view, the karma do have continuum that would continue. However, due to different or special cause and conditions, that kind of continuity could be redirected or could be changed.
就像一个人，法律上就是给他判死刑，但是因为后来实践的就是各种因缘的话，那就是他可能会不判死刑，就是无期徒刑等等的。那么本来我们这个业呢，就是他已经造得很严重，就是他可能下地狱的，但是呢，他后来的这种忏悔啊，就是当以这个原因的话，那就是他不用赎这个罪，就是暂时已经清净了，所以并不是完全是命中注定，但是这个业力有一定的主导作用。
Just like how in our jurisdictional system, maybe a person is sentenced to death sentence, but because of some changes in the society or some kind of advocacy for the abolishment of death sentence, maybe the person's sentence could be changed to life sentence instead of death. It is the same as karma. If a person had committed to something extremely wrong and bad, and that karma could lead to the hell realm. It's a hell realm seed. But because of the person's true regret and ask for forgiveness, then the person's karma could be changed in such a way. So it's not completely having one fate and you'll follow that fate. You have to follow that fate.
Okay. Is there also a karma of a nation or a country, or just a personal karma?
可以按照佛教当中就是叫这个共业。就刚才不是我讲有一个地方好多人都让会议前世和世，我听说泰国的一个地方呢也让这个会议很多的前世。所以可能有一个民族呢，就是他可能在他的这个命运当中，就是经常受苦啊，感受快乐啊。国家也有这样的，就是这我们佛教叫做是共业，比如说共同，就是很多人造了这个业以后呢，后来就是这些人呢在共同的感受同样的痛苦或者是快乐，就是这叫做是共业。
Yes, in Buddhism we call it collective karma. So in the, for example, the story that I told in such ethnic, in Tong ethnic in China, people tend to remember their past lives more. It is the same for, there's a region in Thailand. People in that region remembers their past lives easier. Therefore, it shows that people who have different ethnics may share a collective, the same kind of collective karma. Some of the ethnics or nations may suffer more, may enjoy more. That is also because of the collective karma that is produced by this certain group of people.
我们藏地就是经常说是我们的共业。原来我去玉树地震，就是当时在地震下面就是死了很多人，因为我们藏族人很多的是信仰这个宗教，就他们都觉得是这是我们的共业，没办法死了很多人，就很多人都好像心态就是有自己的这种，就知道是这是我们共业，就是。
In Tibet, we really believe in that collective karma. Back in the time where Yushu region had a huge earthquake around the Sichuan province, many Tibetans, because many Tibetans reside there, so when earthquake came and many people died, after that, many Tibetans were very calm about the whole result. They were sad, but they were calm about it because they understand about that the consequences of death from earthquake were the result of their collective karma. So their mentality was more peaceful and more accepting.
Yes, thank you very much for coming. I would like to ask about how does one accumulate good karma? Is it something that we learn through external studies from books, or rather from introspection, something that we should realize within ourselves?
其实善的也是很多的，一个是发善心，一个是经常比如说供灯啊，还有那个做一些慈善啊，经常就是做内观啊，就我们叫善叫做身意的善，就身意的善是安住这个实相当中，世俗的善呢就是做这些好事， 就这些都慢慢积累。
There are two aspects in collecting positive karma. One is relative level, in the worldly level, where you could generate good heart, good mind whenever you do whenever you carry out any of your actions. You can offer lamps, you can offer lights, you can participate in charity. All of these are good accumulation of merit of good karma in the relative level. There's also what we call the ultimate level of collecting good karma, that is to abide in the state of truth.
Okay. So today the Western world takes a lot of techniques from the Buddhism, such as like different kind of meditation or mindfulness. So I would like to know, first of all, what's your opinion about these things? And second, what is the most important thing that the Western world you think can learn from Buddhism or take from Buddhism to the life today?
第一个，我觉得禅修很好的，在我们宗教当中就是经常有禅修。其实西方现在好多压力可能比较大，就西方很多禅修是比较简单的，但是呢，就是缓解压力啊，就是接受一些痛苦，尤其是现在因为科学的这种迅速的这个发展，让人们的内心就是很不健康，所以让我们沉下来就还是很有一定的，就主要可能跟这个苹果公司的乔布斯就是有一定的关系，因为他爱修禅修，让很多人就是喜欢修这样的，就是这是第一个问题。
First of all, I think meditation is great to relieve stress. That's a great method. But I think nowadays this kind of method is too simple. But it's a good method to relieve stress, especially due to the fast advancement of technology, which is heavily reliant on Steve Jobs from Apple.
他第二个问题，我觉得，西方世界最好佛教里面，就是我们佛教里面就不仅仅是一个宗教的这种信仰。释迦牟尼佛说过一句话。你们不要因为我是佛，就是对我信仰，就是就像吹念镜子一样的，就不管在家人、出家人，就是用非常这个理性的这个思维来进行观察。如果有道理的话，你可以接受；如果没有道理的话，不用这个接受。就我觉得佛教里面就是有这种哲学，就是学到的话，可能最适合不仅是西方世界，我觉得是这种科学的这种严谨的这种思维逻辑，就这个是很重要。
I think one of the most important things that you could learn from Buddhism is that Buddhism is not completely based on faith. It is not just asking you to believe. In fact, Buddha himself said that do not believe in me, do not have faith in me solely because I am the Buddha. And he said that you should find the truth and search for the truth, just like how you would find the gold in the sand. So I think this kind of method, try to look for the truth and try to find the truth without simply or blindly believing, is the kind of philosophy that Western world should adapt. And not only the Western world, but the world in general, especially in the scientific area.
Hey.
I wanted to ask about something that about that. I feel that it is something, especially Western people would really usually have a hard time to just believe something, and we tend to want to look for proof for things. And when you talk about reincarnation and death and everything that comes after this life, it's really hard to perceive anything as proof. And so I do wonder, how do you tackle doubts about that? Because I think people are afraid of death and are afraid of dying. And in a way, it's a subject that people try to avoid because it feels like a dead end. And so, yeah.
其实我们这个生命的内心的一些现象的话，并不是说是像一般的这个世间的物质一样了，就马上用这个科学来这个测试啊，就这些是很难的。我刚才也讲到，它是一种 这个阴暗的，就是并不是马上能看到的。但是我们呢，就是也有很多确凿的证据，就是科学完全无法解释的，而且也有这个前世合适的这个证据。就包括科学的话呢，西方思想的思维方式的话，它没有一个特别确凿的证据就绝对不存在，就是没有这样的。而且也有很多的有这个证据呢，就是存在。就如果不承认的话呢，那就没办法，就是这个道理是说不下去的。所以这个问题呢，我刚才讲了，就是一定要研究，就是通过研究以后呢，才能发现就是真理的。如果你没有研究的话，肯定有怀疑的，肯定有不太相信的，这是正常的现象。然后对死亡的问题的话呢，也是非常的这个大，就是所以我们依靠这个宗教的方式来研究的话，是最好的。
Well, all of you, what you talked about is the trust in your inner experience. How can you trust in inner experience? In fact, science cannot detect or measure inner experience, just like how our world is only perceivable, the real matters, the normal matters that we can perceive through our eyes, but we cannot perceive the large number of dark matter and dark energy, which are much more than the normal matter that we can perceive. Nowadays, we have many evidence that science cannot explain many of the stories and phenomena that happen in our world that cannot be explained by science. And lots of the evidence from science cannot explain how past life doesn't exist. So there's no scientific research on how past life doesn't exist. There's no certain answer to that. That's why I emphasized on the importance of research and study, because through research and study, you'll get more knowledge in this, and you'll be able to analyze into this matter more, and not just based on what science says. So through research and study, you'll be able to remove your doubts. But by now, if you haven't really deeply investigated or invested lots of your time into this study, having doubts is completely normal. The second, also when you talked about death, that is a big topic. And death cannot be explained by science, we cannot relieve that fear simply by relying upon science. But I think religious help in the aspect of death is quite essential.
最后一个。
You talked about reincarnation and past experiences, but how does Buddhism view the future? Is there a potential to see the future in the same term that you can see your past reincarnations? Can you see future reincarnations? Or is it to that level that if you can see future reincarnations, you no longer reincarnate?
关于这些方面，我以前翻译过一本书，叫做《轮回的故事》或者《前世今生论》。所以，实际上，有很多人对这个未来的自己的这个后世，包括你离开这个时候呢，他会就是他的来世是什么样，就是在我们藏传佛教当中有很多这样的事例。所以就交代两件事情，一个是有这种事例，就包括现在的很多的这个转世的话呢，它前世就是确定的，就是然后后来就是得到的就这种情况。然后第二个事情，我翻译过一本书叫做《前世今生论》，就这个里面就是可能好像有英文的吧，就是应该有英文的、汉语的、藏语的都有，就是有这部论当中能说明就是这方面的很多的道理。
Yes, and there's a book that I translated from Tibetan to Chinese, and I think there's an English version of it as well. It's called The Story of Past and Present Lives, Present and Future Lives. So in that book, it talks about how there are people who could perceive, who could foresee their future lives, and there are stories and there are people who could do that.
One more, maybe.
还能再问一个吗
Okay,
one more.
I'd like to hear your definition of truth.
其实这个真相呢，就是说来就内容比较多， 就我们这个信的这种真相，就到最后是真的是，就也不是有的东西，也不是无的东西，就像虚空一样的空。但是这个空呢，也是带着这种光明的。就是一旦我们认识了这样的境界的话呢，就是这个也可以叫真相。然后我们这个万事万物呢，就是他最后真正去观察的时候呢，就像现在物理学家所讲到的那种这个最后的一种能量场，但最后那个也不存在。然后这种空呢，也并不是真相，所以这是可能是这个真相的这个层次呢，就是有很多层次，就是到最后呢，就可以说是不可思议，就不可言说，就是这个是按照我们的很多观点来讲，是可以叫做是真相。就是什么时候把这样的真相通达的话，我们叫做是开悟。
Truth is a vast topic. It's a very vast topic. But how we describe truth, we can describe it in terms of our mind, the truth of our mind. The truth or the nature of our mind is neither existent nor non-existent. It is just like the space that we perceive, or it is like the vast space or vast sky. It is spacious at the same time luminous. It is in science we talk about phenomena could be directed to smaller particles, and eventually that is only left with energy field. But at the end, in Buddhism, we talk about that energy field is not even existent. But at the same time, while it's not existent, it is not void, it's not nothingness. So that is the truth. That is the truth that has, in fact, there are many levels in it. There are many levels of realizing it. That truth is not really speakable. You cannot use words to describe it. You cannot think of it through your conceptual mind. But once you really see it, once you really realize that truth, we can call that enlightenment.
So I think those were pretty good closing words.
我觉得那个是一个特别圆满的结尾。
So please join me in thanking Khenpo Soda Rinpoche.
一起感谢堪布。
And let me just say that whoever wants another taste of Khenpo Lasso, then we'll be lighting candles in the afternoon at 4:05 here in Gusheva. So everybody's welcome. And there may even be enough sufganiyot for everyone.